Hi, everybody. Welcome to Patriot Over 50. And my name's Kelly. Welcome. And I have a teleprompter that I'm getting to use, so we'll see how it goes. So, on October 14th, 2025, a few days ago, what would have been Charlie Kirk's 32nd birthday, President Trump posthumously, is that how you say it? Awarded him the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the nation's highest civilian honor. The ceremony was held in, the newly revamped Rose Garden at the White House. And it was a very emotional but beautiful. And Erica Kirk was accepting the award on behalf of her late husband, Charlie Kirk, who was assassinated during a Turning Point USA event in Utah, September 10th, 2025. Trump called Kirk a fearless warrior for liberty, crediting him with mobilizing young voters and shaping the young conservative movement. In other world news, in a historic ceasefire brokered by President Trump, the whole world was celebrating. I mean, around the world. It was amazing. President Trump flew to Israel and gave a speech to Israel's parliament, which was very long in my opinion, but it was good. Trump had organized a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas or Palestine, and part of the agreement was, besides the ceasefire, was that Israel was going to get back 20 of the remaining hostages that were still alive that were held by Hamas. And you can imagine how wonderful that was. They'd been held captive for almost 2 years. A horrible, horrible thing for the families and the prisoners. But the deal also included the release of nearly 2,000 Palestinian prisoners. Families reunited in scenes of raw emotion, tears, embraces, and prayers. One father heard his daughter say, "Daddy," for the first time in 2 years. It was amazing. Later, after the festivities in Israel, Trump flew to Egypt and he chaired a summit there with countries, representatives from countries all around the world. And he called it a historic day for peace. This moment, however brief, cut through the noise. It reminded the world that behind every headline are real people, real suffering, and real hope. Now to the satire. And I have some satire for you today. I'm just going to hit a little bit on a few things. I think you'll enjoy it. So, welcome to the 2025 edition of Hypocrisy Olympics, where the gold goes wherever whoever can weaponize the law, cry victim the loudest, and still manage to look shocked when the boomerang hits them square in the face. Letitia Lawfare is bad. Unless I'm doing it. James, New York's Attorney General, turned part-time mortgage magician, has recently discovered the word lawfare. She's clutching her pearls, gasping into the microphone, and warning America about the dangers of politicized prosecutions, which is so adorable, considering she spent the last 3 years auditioning for the role of Trump Slayer by filing a $464 million civil fraud case based on inflated property valuations while allegedly inflating her own to snag better mortgage terms for herself. It's like watching someone set a house on fire, then suing the fire department for trespassing. Crazy. She's absolutely crazy. She called Trump a con man, but now faces federal charges for listing her Virginia property as her primary residence while living in New York. That's not just hypocrisy, it's performance art. And the critics, well, they're calling it Lawfare the Musical, starring Letitia James as the misunderstood heroine who just wanted justice for everyone but herself. Meanwhile, Lawfare, the publication, rushed to her defense, attacking whistleblowers instead of the evidence, because when you can't refute the facts, you smear the messenger. Classic. So here we are. Letitia James crying lawfare, Charlie Kirk honored in death for his fight against it, and hostages freed in a deal that proves diplomacy isn't dead. It's just been on life support. And if hypocrisy were a currency, Letitia would be the Federal Reserve. Okay, so once upon a time, in cities once known for jazz, coffee, and bridges, now known for Molotov cocktails, masked mobs, and mayors who think law enforcement is a hate crime. Okay, let's talk about Portland and Chicago, America's two favorite sanctuaries for chaos, where the only thing more in danger than public safety is common sense. Portland, Oregon, where Antifa gets frequent flyer miles for attacking ICE facilities, Trump called it war ravaged. The media clutched their pearls, but let's be honest. If Portland were a person, it'd be that guy at the party who insists on defunding the police while dialing 911 because someone took his oat milk. ICE buildings are under siege. Federal agents are dodging bricks. And the mayor's solution? More murals, because nothing says public safety like a rainbow crosswalk and a hashtag. And let's not forget the protesters, bless their hearts, who think abolish ICE means we'll all just hold hands at the border and sing Kumbaya while cartel hands out welcome baskets. Shh, don't say Antifa too loud. You might summon a frog in a blow-up suit. Portland, Operation Inflation. The clown show goes federal. Portland's latest protest strategy, you ask? Glad you asked. Inflatable costumes. That's right. While ICE agents stand in riot gear, they're being taunted by Barney, Pikachu, and a gyrating frog doing the cha-cha slide in front of federal property. There's even a group called Operation Inflation handing out over 100 inflatable suits to protesters like it's Halloween for anarchists, because nothing says serious political resistance like a dinosaur doing the Macarena while screaming, "Defund ICE!" Trump says Portland is a war zone. Portland says it's a dance party. And somewhere in the middle, SpongeBob is getting pepper sprayed. Now let's head to Chicago, where the mayor says crime is down. And technically, yes, crime's down if you ignore the shootings, carjackings, and the fact that the National Guard had to be deployed to protect ICE facilities. Apparently, the only thing more offensive than crime in Chicago is trying to stop it. Meanwhile, staying in Chicago, crime is so normalized, and the mayor continues to insist everything's fine. It's like watching someone drown while they yell, "I'm just swimming aggressively." Trump sends in troops, and suddenly it's fascism. But when masked mobs loot stores and torch police cars, that's just community healing. Let me say this loud and clear. ICE is not the villain. I said ICE is not the villain. They're the last line of defense between law-abiding citizens and a borderless free-for-all. But in Portland and Chicago, ICE agents are treated like invaders, while actual criminals get press conferences and GoFundMes. And Trump, he's not militarizing cities. He's doing what spineless local leaders won't: protecting federal property, restoring order, and backing the people who wear a badge. Let's talk about the organization that's not an organization. Antifa, the non-organization that somehow needs a terrorism designation. The group that doesn't exist except when it's burning down buildings and attacking ICE agents. For years, the media's told us Antifa was just an idea, a vibe, a misunderstood poetry club with Molotovs. But in September 2025, Trump signed an executive order officially designating Antifa as a domestic terrorist organization, calling it a militarist anarchist enterprise that seeks to overthrow the U.S. government. So let me get this straight. Antifa isn't real, but it's real enough to be investigated. It's real enough to be dismantled and defunded by federal law enforcement. Now that's some next level imaginary terrorism. And if Antifa's not organized, how do they all show up in matching black hoodies, carrying the same signs, chanting the same slogans, and somehow always know where the ICE building is? So here's the truth. If inflatable frogs are your front line against federal law enforcement, and your terrorist organizations are just ideas, you don't need a revolution. You need a reality check. Portland and Chicago aren't resisting tyranny. They're auditioning for a Netflix docuseries called How to Lose a Country in 10 Protests. If you're more outraged by ICE defending a building than by mobs trying to burn it down, you're not anti-authoritarian. You're just pro-anarchy. Portland and Chicago aren't cautionary tales. They're previews. And if we don't wake up The next city on fire might be yours. Support ICE, support law, support sanity. And for the love of God, stop voting for chaos. It seems like we have some protests coming up tomorrow on Saturday all across the country. No kings, no kings, no peace, no sanity. Tomorrow the streets will fill with people screaming, "No kings!" They'll wear black, chant slogans, and pretend they're fighting tyranny. But let me tell you what they're really doing. They're rehearsing for a civil war. These aren't peaceful protesters. They're rage addicts. They thrive on chaos. They weaponize words, then act shocked when violence follows. They say they're defending democracy, but they don't believe in elections unless they win. They don't believe in free speech unless they control it. They don't believe in peace unless it's on their terms. They call Trump a tyrant. Fine, criticize policy all you want. But when you start calling for uprisings, when you glorify destruction, when you treat law enforcement like enemy combatants, you're not resisting tyranny, you're becoming it. And let's be honest, these people don't read the Constitution, they read Instagram captions. They don't build coalitions, they build echo chambers. They scream, "No kings," while acting like royalty, demanding obedience, silencing dissent, and throwing tantrums when reality doesn't bend to their will. They say they want justice, but they mean revenge. They say they want freedom, but they mean control. And if we keep pretending this is just activism, we're going to lose the country. This isn't about Trump, you guys. It's about a movement that's drunk on moral superiority and allergic to accountability. They don't want dialogue, they want dominance. They don't want unity, they want submission. So tomorrow, while they march for mayhem, I'll be standing for truth, for order, for a country that doesn't bow to mobs. You want to stop tyranny? Start by calling out the people who use it as a costume. No kings? Try no peace, no logic, no clue. I don't care if it's popular. I care if it's right. And I'm telling you, this ends when we stop pretending that destruction is progress. You want to save America? Start by calling out the people trying to destroy it. Real talk. Back to my original title for this video. Real talk. Is it all just noise? Ask yourself that question. Is it just noise? That depends on your lens. If you see Trump's policies as necessary for national security and order, these protests probably look like tantrums. If you view his actions as dangerous power grabs, then no kings feels like a moral stand. But here's the kicker. Both sides are using the same language. Freedom, patriotism, justice, to justify their outrage. And the other side uses it to justify their outrage. Same words. So where do we really stand, you guys? We better get careful. We better get on the ball. And we better pray to God that our country has not gone too far. That we can save our country. It's really sad what's going on. Speak out, speak up, and I will see you real soon. Thanks for stopping by. Please share after you like and subscribe. Last I checked, I have 1 subscriber. I need some subscribers, you guys. Okay, I'll see you again real soon. Thanks for stopping by.